Hey everybody, it's Doom here from Dungeons and Doom Biscuit. I want to make some Fey Scatter. Been doing a lot of fairy stuff in the new fantasy campaign we're doing. So first thing I want to do is I want to get one of my little things. If you don't know how to make one of these, all this is paper towels soaked in glue and Mod Podge and water, and then you throw them on a pan, let them dry for a day or two, then pop them off, and you have these sturdy, nice little hills that you could do whatever with. So I'm going to get a piece of a game board, and I'm going to glue this down, cut off the excess. I'm going to use that to make my base, my nice base. Okay. Then I'm just going to come around here, cut a half-ass round shape out of it. I need to make a second cut. No problem. Just trying to cut myself today. Fortunately, I have recovered from slicing myself yesterday pretty well. It bled for a little while, then it stopped. Then I want my edges to be a little bit beveled, so I'm just going to use some drawing cuts to do that. All right, so I want to have a lot of mushrooms and weird plants. So for weird plants, I was thinking I have these cards that I got from a board game that I'm never going to use. So I thought I could make some big leaves out of those. So all I'm doing is cutting some shapes to be kind of my big leaves. I'm just getting 5 out of here. And you could probably be more conservative with your cuts and get a better shape than that. And then I'm going to take those pieces, and I don't want them to be flat like that. I want them to curve. So you can get like a popsicle stick or a pen or a paintbrush or scissors, and you can kind of twist those and curve those a little bit. And that's all I'm going to do. So I'm just going to twist and curve those to make different shapes. Okay. Because I want this to be fantastic. By fantastic, I don't mean of amazing quality. I mean fantasy adjacent. Fantastic. Excuse my silly time madness. All right, so to make my first silly plant here, I'm going to grab a bead. Any kind of bead would work. This says bricks, but it lies. It's actually beads. I'm going to take one of these. I'm going to shove it on this base here, just anywhere. I'm going to fill it up with glue, just like that. And then I'm going to take glue around it, like this. And I'm going to stick my leaves in outwards, attempting to make a cool, different kind of fantasy plant. Something that I don't have on any of my other terrain, ideally. And that's when you start burning yourself. Ow, damn it. So we'll get those in there, and then we'll get them all propped up together, kind of in a interesting configuration. Burn myself a little bit more, but that's just for fun, right? Right. That glue is not cooling quickly. because it's warm in here. This is a better for summertime or wintertime kind of thing, I think. Okay. Come on. There we go. Now I get that hot again. I'm going to put some glue on top of that. And let that kind of fall down and touch the leaves. Now I'm blowing on it just to kind of get it where I want it. Get that glue to start to settle. Let's hope that stops for a while. Now to make our mushrooms, first we're going to make some on the base itself, and we're going to find some little areas. And we're just going to make little dots of glue like that. Put them right next to each other, and as they cool, they will kind of butt up against each other and create some natural weird shapes. I'm hoping. Or they'll melt completely together like a dumbass. Okay, well, we can make that work. Now let's get a knife and make some mushrooms that are 3D and stick up. And we're just going to get little dots like that. We'll do 5 little ones for now. Then we'll come back and we'll do 5 bigger ones. We'll get something else to make the bigger ones on. Let those cool off to the side there. And let's make some big ones. And to do that, we're just going to get a bigger lump of glue. Tap that down. We'll make 3 of these bigger ones. We'll let that cool. We'll need some toothpicks, and we'll need some sticks or something fatter, like skewers would be good. All right, so this is starting to cool, my first plant. The mushrooms are not cool yet, but they will be. Let's get these sticks sorted out. So to do these, all I'm doing is getting my snippers. And I'm going to get a little bit of glue. I'm going to shove that down in where I want that to stay a few times. We need 5 of these for the little mushrooms. You just want a little dab, just something you can kind of get it to attach to the surface with, right? I'm just cleaning up that edge a little bit there where it's a little bit stuck up. I'm getting my last mushroom stem and putting it there. Okay. Then I don't want those to ever move again. And that super glue is a better choice than hot glue for something like that. So now I'm going to get super glue and just drip it down each stem and let it soak and solidify. Like that. Okay. So that weird mass there is no longer going to work as my normal mushroom. We got our big mushrooms. Those are getting cool. Our little mushrooms should be cool by now. So to do those, this is easy. Sorry, I'm grabbing a skewer for my larger stems. So to do these, all I'm going to do is with a pair of tweezers, I'm going to pop that off of there. I'm going to set that down. I'm going to get the end of my stick pretty hot. And then I'm going to shove this onto it like that. And that did not work the way I wanted it to. Those are not as hard as I wanted. No problem. We will just get a little bit of baking soda and super glue, and we will make these permanently fixed where they will never move again. No problem. To do that, we're just going to get some smooth baking soda, sprinkle that on around each one of those. Now they're sturdy. Okay, let's try that again. Boop. All right, well, it's not doing what it's supposed to. So I'm going to get the bottom of this hot with the glue gun and then stick it on that way. Okay. That's not ideal, but it will work. I don't know if you guys can see those because it's a little clear. It's hard to see. So all I'm doing is just getting the bottom of that hot and then shoving it on the stick like that. Once I get it on there, I'm just kind of forcing it down a little bit so the glue kind of holds in place. Nothing too fancy. Oops, I almost put it on the stick again like a dumbass. Okay, now we have a little bit of drama right here where the paper towel is not seated. So I'm just going to get some glue and drag that around and just make some little like squiggles and patterns to kind of hold all that. That's all I'm doing. It's just adding some interest. Then I'm also going to come over here and I'm going to make some vines coming off my weird, or not vines, roots coming off my weird plant. Just like that. Okay. All right. Now that I've got my hand good and stuck, just getting rid of spider webs real quick. Our little fairy scatter is starting to come together. All right, so we have the big mushrooms to do. And we're just going to find a spot for those. Shove those in. There's 3 of them. Oops. A little bit of drama there. No problem. And we want those to be solid too, so we're going to do the same thing I did on the other side. Or on the other side, but on the other mushrooms. Whoops. And just drip some baking soda and super glue on them to make them permanent and sturdy. Okay. I'm going to burn the middle center of it. Pretty warm. Shove it on there. Get it in a good spot. Okay. I'm going to do that 3 times. Just like that. Okay. Now each of those stems could come off pretty easy, or each of those mushrooms, I should say. Just get rid of some spider webs real quick. So I'm just gonna get my super glue, pick this whole thing up, and I'm gonna run them down across the back side of each mushroom to hold this all in place permanently. Okay. And I usually flock everything afterwards, but what I want to do is I want to make a couple little weird things on this. So let me find some sticks, some like outside sticks from the nature. I had a bag of them here. I was using them yesterday. Today they're missing. Bag of sticks. Okay. What I want is something like this with a beat up end. I want to make a stump that kind of sits on here. So I'm going to shove it in there, and I'm going to use that glue and kind of drag that around and dip it around and create some texture with it. And I'm going to hold it in place with that permanently. And then I'm going to drip some super glue down the sides just to make sure we get a good bond. And I'm going to soak the end of this in super glue too. Now I accidentally got some on my leaf there because I'm sloppy. So I'm just going to wipe that up and down the leaf just like that. And that's going to create some texture and sturdiness. And to make all my leaves match, we're just going to do the same thing. So we're just going to get a dab of glue on each leaf and rub it around just like that. Okay. Then there's a couple spots where I'd like to add some random texture. And I have this big flock that I use for flowers, and I planned on using it on this again later because it's colorful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find some spots where I think this would look nice. I'll put a little bit of, put this on a base so I can work on it a little bit. Okay. And then I'm just going to get some of this glue, and you could use clear glue, but I'm not at the moment using clear glue on this. And get that all soaked in super glue. And I'm going to sprinkle some of this textured big flower stuff on here, and then wipe that off. And I'm going to do that in a couple spots. Then when I come back at the end, we'll fix the rest of the stuff that needs to be fixed. Okay. All right, and let's get some over here in this weird corner. Just like that. Okay. I'm going to throw a little bit of baking soda in there just to kind of hold all that in place while I work. And let's dry it Not dry it, I'm sorry, paint it. So I'm just going to black bomb it to get started, and then we'll work from there. All right, black bombed. I'm gonna hit it with the hair dryer, aka +5 hot air gun of burning. I'm gonna put some of my tools away. And we're going to get a piece of cardboard, a floppy brush, and some brown paint. This is burnt umber from Walmart. It's just a really cheapy ground cover type color. It's dark, it's rich, get it wet, and it spreads easy, and it's inexpensive to use. Don't panic if it's not perfect everywhere. Now, if you don't want to use ridiculous fake colors, try using bright, normal-looking colors. So, for example, on mine, maybe I want to be able to use it just as a cool terrain piece somewhere else, too. Now, I have plenty of terrain for a lot of places, I'll be honest with you. I've been doing this for, 30 years or so. 34 years now, I think. Just had my birthday, 35 years. But I don't keep everything, and I give stuff to game stores occasionally, and I give stuff to other people that don't have stuff. I gave all my Star Wars stuff to a guy who plays Warhammer because he didn't have any terrain. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the hell my point is. I'm old. I'm getting to that point where I just ramble. It's getting frustrating. So I'm just hitting all those mushrooms with this brown to lighten them up a little bit before the next coat on them. There's a fly or something in here. It's driving me apeshit nuts. All right. Let's dry this a little bit. +5 hot air gun of burning. Lighter brown, a reddish brown maybe. Maybe, I say, because I can't find the damn stuff. I have lost my reddish brown. I hate everyone. Come on. My eyes are not what they used to be. So I'm going to get that brush I had, the big fat brush. I'm just going to dry it out somewhat. Kind of washed it out, kind of dried out. I'm going to get that red color. It's like an orangish brown. And I'm going to kind of dab it around with some intensity. Giving some interesting variation to the terrain underneath. That's what I mean by with some intensity. Like, I want the undercoat of this to look a little fantastic too. I'm going to hit that on the mushrooms to lighten them up. I'm going to touch the leaves to lighten them up too, actually. Not perfectly, but somewhat. Just to give them a little bit of a lighter tone. So when I paint them green or whatever color I do, it'll look okay. All right, so let's get a bigger piece of cardboard. I'm going to dry that. Pretty dry. I'm going to get something to use for a dry brush. And I'm going to get a beige color. And a soft make. This is a makeup brush. And then I'm just going to kind of bang out some different levels of elevation. I want to hit those roots pretty good because I'm going to be doing something with those roots and I want to be able to see where they're at real easy. Now I'm going to take this lightest color. I'm really going to hit this log a lot. This stump. A lot. Let me get some more of that even. Let me hit that stump a little better. Okay. Sweet. Now let's paint our stems off white of our mushrooms. And you can use any brush you have for that. Doesn't have to be anything spectacular. Just paint those as light, off white as you can. If you wanted to paint the undersides, you could too. Although since people probably won't see them, I wouldn't worry about it. I'm doing my big ones first because they're the most noticeable. And I don't care if I get a little bit anywhere else because I can come back and paint over that with just one swap of dark to fix it. And I'm just going to get these little ones. I'm going to be a little more careful with those. And if these aren't perfect, don't panic. It'll be okay. Now you see I have some spots I just outright missed and stuff, and I'm not going to sweat about those or make those into any kind of big deal. All right. I'm going to wash that brush out. I'm going to get some of my dark again, mixed with the red there that I had, and I'm just going to clean up any spots where I got white on the base really quickly. It's going to be a lighter tone, and I'm not going to sweat little stuff like that. That'll be good enough for now. Let's dry this off. And let's get some mushroom colors and some greens going. Put some more tools away. Alright, so for my leaves and my mushrooms, I just want to have fun. So I'm going to do a mushroom in turquoise, one of my big ones maybe. I'm just using that same brush I used and throwing my brushes. Paint it in blue. You want something that has good saturation that'll cover and coat. And I like this color a lot, so I'm also going to do one of my little mushrooms in it too. Okay. I'm going to use this purple. It's called Purple Pansy. I'm going to do another one of my big ones with that. Maybe a small one too if it looks good. That looks okay. I'll do this little one with it too. This is Flamenco Red. I'm going to do this big one with this. I'm going to do a little one with it too. Just to make my life a little easier. I'm going to do these last two mushrooms in Arbor Green. I'm also going to base coat my leaves tops in the dark green. And I'm just taking my time. See, look, I got some flock on there. I'm just going to leave it. I'm not going to be able to get it off without making a mess. So I'm just going to leave it on there. Paint these leaves green. We're going over time on how long I wanted to spend on this because I had some mushroom problems. Not the kind of mushroom problems you want to tell your homies about. It's like, not like a story from college from a mishap at a concert. I wouldn't know anything about that stuff. Then I'm going to paint the center of my plant that green color and underneath the leaves. And I'm putting less effort in it underneath the leaves. You'll be able to see them some, but not overly. Not doing a phenomenal job on the bottoms, just kind of touching them. There we go. Let's clean that up. Let's hit this with some hot air. And then on these leaves, get a small brush again, like the one I was using. Doesn't have to be any special brush, just a brush. And try not to pull it apart while you're working on it if you can help it. Because what I just did there was not great. Then get a lighter green. I'm using this limeade. I'm going to trace the edges of my leaves a little bit. It's way too much paint. And I'm not doing a perfect job, but I might get a little bit up on the top of the leaf here and there, and I'm not worried about it. That'll work. Okay. Getting way too close to how long I wanted to be on, or beyond the time I wanted to spend on this, so we're going to go a little bit quick. And that's okay. So drag that around the outside of the leaves as quickly as you can. Make sure you get those covered fairly decently. And then I just want to kind of dab this along, up and down. Then I want to get it, and I want to hit that middle part and lighten that up significantly. Okay. Now on those roots, I'm going to get some pavement here. I'm going to water this down. I'm going to drag it on those roots. Just like that. And no, I did not clean my brush. I just kind of threw the shit on there. Something like that. Now I really want to water that down a lot more. I want to hit my tree with it and darken it back up a little bit and make it look rotted. Just like that. Set this off to the side. Let's hot air gun this. We're going to get a white color. I'm using that antique white that I used on the mushroom stems. And I'm going to get a very fine brush. I'm using a size 1 for this. And I'm just putting some dots on my toadstools here. And I don't care if they're perfect or if they're any kind of pattern. One's a little different. I'm going to do a different color dot on my other ones. I'll use that lime green on my last two. I'm going to use that same brush and that lime green, and I'm going to grab some of those bigger chunks of that 3D kind of texture I put on there with my big flock. I'm just going to drag that around, and that's going to create some like kind of a brighter tone and some variation that makes it look a little more fantastic, fantasy adjacent. Now, before you clear coat this and before you put flock on it, well, actually, you should do your flock first. So to do my flock, I'm getting clear glue and a plastic brush. And I'm just going to get some areas that I want to flock covered in glue. And I'm going to use just some different flocks. This is like a dead brown kind of color. And this is kind of a fall color. This is a bright green. Now this last little portion here, I'm going to do dark green. And there's not a whole lot left that I didn't cover. But we're just going to do a little bit. Just to try to make it look cool. And fantastic and different. Okay. Now I do like this green a lot. So I'm going to get a little bit more of that up here. Just sprinkle some of that on there. I'm going to use this mossy color. I'm going to get my glue. I'm going to come down in here. I'm going to work my way a little bit up the side of that log. Down along the bottom there a little bit. I'm going to sprinkle some of this. Something like that. Okay, now before you clear coat this, a tiny bit of super glue into some of the little cracks will create a nice little water effect that dries pretty quickly. And then, with a small brush, I'm going to get a light brown. This is that reddish brown I was using earlier. And I'm going to trace those roots a little bit. My brush is a little bit flat, and I'm just going to drag it around on those roots. Just like that. Because it's going to give the look I want. You do it how you want to do it. Okay. Now I have some paper towels somewhere. I'm using a tiny corner of paper towel to soak up some of the excess super glue so it dries quickly. So just give me that, soak that up. I'm going to hit this with the air gun. Clear coat it. Yeah, I know it's long. I'm sorry. I'll upload it while I'm sleeping so it doesn't disrupt my entire day. Clear coat. That was a lot of clear coat, probably more than I needed. Hot air gun one more time. Okay. Then get some gloss Mod Podge. Hold on. I need to cut this open. With a fairly clean brush, paint the tops of your mushrooms. This is going to make them shiny. And I'm going to do my plant leaves a little bit with this, not too much. in the center of my plant. I'm just spreading it around now to make sure it's not too thick and doesn't dry white. I want to make sure it dries shiny and clear. Hit my mushroom tops a little bit better. Just like that. Okay. Air gun it one last time. And you could have done it in fantastic colors, or you could have done it in something kind of like this that can go either way. You see the parts that should be shiny. Now, when that clear coat completely cures, a lot of that little bit of gloss that has, that'll actually fade too. So thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell icon. Check out the description down below. There will be a link to the Dungeon Swag website and the Discord. And thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.